So this is the last of the 3 videos on Spectatorship. So just to recap where we are, we've looked at Hall, we've looked at an overview of Spectatorship, like kind of key issues and things you're going to have to think about. We've looked at the Frankfurt School, Christian Metz, Laura Mulvey. There is loads more that we can do on Spectatorship, and we will do as we go on through the course. But this is a kind of a primer, really, for you to kind of be thinking about that. So what I want to do in this last video is sort of talk you through a case study of Laura Mulvey. So in a nutshell, Mulvey argued that the cinematic structure is inherently gendered masculine. So male viewers are the preferred audience for any film because we live in a patriarchal society and all that kind of stuff. And do remember that she's approaching this from a perspective of feminist. And that 90% at least of protagonists of films are straight white men, right? And throughout these films, we kind of see an escapist version of masculinity within them, within these men. And the project, as far as like gender politics is concerned within these films, is about subjugating women. So women are either sort of not to be trusted, or they just kind of exhibit to be looked atness. Now, core to Mulvey's kind of idea on this, and there are flaws in this theory, and it's really worth kind of discussing it through it when we return in class. But the central kind of idea is that we identify with the main male character through a system of close-ups. Okay, so once we get the close-up and we see that character looking in a direction, then we have the camera pointing in that direction, we are in their headspace. So we're experiencing the film from their point of view. And because of that, the audience, therefore, is gendered male. So even if you're a woman watching a film, the pleasure that you get from watching a film is gendered masculine for the most part, because your legitimate entry into the film is through male characters, right? So if you think about like the big, any kind of character from a film, generally speaking, they're white men. So you're experiencing the film from their kind of hegemonic point of view and experience. And because of that process of looking, women are quite often represented in a way that that shows off their body and their sexuality, and their kind of worthwhileness is from a male's point of view. And this is further compounded by the fact, like narratively, the female characters are generally not active narrative agents. So the male characters are like active narrative agents. So in other words, they make active decisions that push the story forward. Female characters don't tend to do that, right? They are kind of subject, not kind of movable kind of object, right? So consequently, they are quite often, the character who is in danger or needs to be saved, and the whole kind of princess in the tower thing. And there's a really useful kind of document that I'm going to talk you through as well, not in this but another time, where a data miner looked at the opening paragraphs of 100 works of literature, and sort of talked about, broke down the amount of male characters and the amount of kind of adjectives associated with male characters and female adjectives, right? Adjectives associated with female characters. So the male characters are all like doing, punching, hitting, saving, and the female adjectives are all like loving, being kidnapped, and all this kind of stuff. So there's this kind of central, kind of systematic bias towards male characters being active and being, kind of proactive within narratives. The female characters are there, to use Mulvey's phrase, to be looked at. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show you this scene, and I just want you to kind of think about that and think about the difference in representations between the male and female characters. Now this is on 60 frames a second, so it looks really weird. But anyway, just have a look at this.
What's wrong with the radio?
Driving home tonight.
What? People drive concubine, man. Let her hitchhike.
It was 10 miles from here, okay? It's my only chance. You gotta be understanding here, alright?
Alright, we'll put her in the back. I'll be quiet.
Did you say put her in the back?
I called you.
Miles, I'm not putting her in the back. You gotta get out of my car right now.
The party stop.
What rules?
Our bros before hoes. Miles, I beg you to get out of my car. Okay? You can't do this to me.
You gotta get out of my car right now.
Who's gonna come around? Okay, look. It's Sam. With Ricky. Nobody gets stranded or anything. Sure? So listen, I was wondering if I could ride you home. Give you a ride home in my car to your house. There you go. So,
I can't believe that I'm here right now.
You can duck down if you want. It won't hurt my feelings.
No. I didn't mean with you. I just meant here, like, in this situation.
Oh.
Same situation that I'm always in. I don't know, I guess I just have a weakness for hot guys, for tight abs and really big arms.
Yeah. Well, a couple new additions in the car. Like, I just put in that light there. And that disco ball. So the light reflects off the disco ball. Yeah.
Are you new to school this year? Your first year?
Oh, no. We've been in the same school since first grade.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, a long time.
Would you have any classes together?
Yeah. History, language arts, math, science. Sam, yeah.
Sam, Wilkinson.
With.
You know what? I'm so sorry. I just,
No, it's cool.
I recognize you.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's understandable. No. Come on. Sorry, just working out vacation. I'll see what's going on.
oh. This radio is like, no radio.
Look, this isn't something, it's straight to stop. Look, I wouldn't try this on you, This is like a romantic thing that I'm not trying to do. Not that you're not worthy of trying something like this on. I'm a friend of yours. I'm not a romantic friend. Like, romantic friends do this. I mean, I'm not that friend. I mean, I could be.
Just pop it. Wow, nice letters. You got a high-rise double pump carburetor. That's pretty impressive.
Double pump?
It squirts the fuel in so you can go faster.
Oh. I like to go fast.
And it looks like your distributor cap's a little loose.
Yeah? How'd you know that?
My dad, he was a real grease monkey. He taught me all about this. I could take it all apart, clean it, put it back together.
It's weird. I just wouldn't pay you for mechanical.
Well, I don't really broadcast it. Guys don't like it when you know more about cars than they do. Especially not Trent.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'm cool with, females working on my end. I prefer it, actually.
You want to fire it up for me?
Oh, yeah, no problem. I was thinking, if Trent's such a jerk, why do you hang out with him?
You know what? I'm gonna walk. I feel back in the car.
All right. Walking's healthy, right? No. Come on, please. Please, don't work for me now. Don't let her walk. Come on. Please. Ooh. Wait a second!